India, 1 billion people, 19 official languages, the world's largest democracy, where Hindus and Muslims live side by side. But in February, religious tensions exploded into violence.
We got out 58 dead bodies. It was such a deadly sight that many helpers and police fainted. It was indeed a horrific sight.
Is Gandhi's legacy of tolerance now at risk? Coming up on Wide Angle. Major funding for this program has been provided by the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, the Jacob Burns Foundation, and the Florence and John Schumann Foundation. Additional funding has been provided by the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and the Miriam G. and Ira D. Wallach Foundation. This program has also been made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Tonight, we report from India, a country of more than 1 billion people with a democratic constitution that promises equal rights for all religions. Earlier this year, in Gujarat state, a Muslim mob set fire to a train carrying Hindu fundamentalists, killing 59 people. In a wave of revenge attacks, Hindu militants killed more than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, and left 100,000 more homeless. And there have been reliable accounts of police and state complicity in this terrible violence. Wide-angle producer Stephen Silver reports on the worst religious violence in more than a decade and what it means for India.
Gujarat State, northwest India. In the first few months of 2002, violence between Muslims and Hindus has left over 1,000 people dead, the majority of them Muslims. Now it is July. In Ahmedabad, Gujarat's largest city, Hindus are about to celebrate the Jagannath Rath Yatra, a religious parade. About 250,000 Hindus will march through the city and its Muslim neighborhoods. In past years, the procession has ended with arson, looting, and bloodshed. This year, there are fears it could be worse. Harish Bhatt is a Hindu from Ahmedabad.
How do you get your gun out quickly enough?
I'll show you somewhere. How fast I can remove, how fast I can even fire also. I require minute. I'll take round also. It will be come out. It is in my hand and it will be fired.
Why
because the rainy season is there.
Harish Bhatt retired from the Air Force 6 years ago. Now he is a successful businessman and vice president of India's largest Hindu youth movement, the Bajrang Dal, or Monkey God Brigade. The brigade has been accused of murdering Muslims. Today, he is preparing for next week's parade. He is determined that it will be a show of Hindu strength.
Today's event has been organized to awaken the people of this village and to create unity within our society. Every Hindu must unite to obtain his rights. and to fight the injustice being done to Hindu society at a national level. That's the main goal of this event.
Bhatt and his youth movement are part of a much larger Hindu alliance. The alliance is made up of over 50 organizations, including India's national ruling party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. The BJP also controls the government of Gujarat state. Its chief minister is Narendra Modi. He is a pracharak, someone who has renounced sex and marriage to work for the Hindu movement. Human rights groups allege that when militant Hindus began killing Muslims 6 months ago, Modi's government failed to take action to stop the violence. Modi and Bhatt both aim to turn India's secular democracy into a religious Hindu state. The slogan of their Hindu alliance is one nation, one culture, one religion, one language.
Is there a future here for Muslims in Gujarat?
See, if they want to peacefully, if they stay here as a peacefully, they stay as a younger brother, naturally they can stay in future also. Otherwise, that is very difficult for them, because after all, they are in minority. By power, they cannot win.
Alongside 820 million Hindus, there are 150 million Muslims in India, the second largest Islamic community in the world. Zakia Jafri and her family are Muslims. Zakia's husband, Ehsan Jafri, was murdered by Hindu rioters during February's massacres. In a week, the parade will bring tens of thousands of Hindus onto the streets once again. Her son, Tanvir, wants her to leave and join her daughter in the U.S. She is afraid, but refuses to leave.
He used to say, if I leave, all these poor people who have built all these houses will also leave. He said, our children have moved away, and we have only a short time to live. So we should spend the little bit that's left of our lives here.
Ehsan Jafri was an Ahmedabad lawyer, poet, and activist. In jail at age 14 for protesting British rule, he became inspired by Mohandas Gandhi's vision of an India in which Hindus and Muslims lived in peace. Jafri had dedicated his life to opposing religious extremism of all kinds. He had been trying to prevent Chief Minister Modi and the Hindu alliance from taking power in Gujarat.
I think about it all the time. I think about it all the time. Something should be done. The police didn't do anything then, and they aren't doing anything now.
Gujarat's Muslims say the police helped the Hindu attackers, and that Modi's BJP government actually encouraged the massacres. Violence in Gujarat has begun to threaten the national BJP government in Delhi. They are under pressure, local and international, to ensure that Chief Minister Modi stops the killing. On May 3rd, they sent in KPS Gill, a man known as India's super cop. Gill had retired from the police force to serve as the president of India's Field Hockey Federation. But now, the Delhi government wants him in Gujarat.
Stop the violence which was taking place. That's my main task. And to ensure that the forces which are available were utilized to the maximum. And to remove the fears of the minorities, because they had got into a situation, a mindset where they did not trust the law enforcement agencies.
In the 90s, Gill crushed an armed revolt of Sikh separatists in the Punjab. Human rights groups said he used excessive force in the name of fighting terrorism. But by the time Gill left the Punjab, he was a household name. When Gil arrives in Ahmedabad, Muslims from villages across Gujarat ask him to protect them from the attacks.
Good, we find in your hands.
Mrs. Jaffrey has asked Gil to help find her husband's killers. But Gil's job is a difficult one. The Rath Yatra parade is going to rally Hindu militants in Ahmedabad, including some in the police. Gil must force them to do their jobs and keep the peace. Friday's parade will pass close to the ashram built by Mohandas Gandhi. Here, the great advocate of nonviolence came to spread his vision of a pluralist, democratic India. 50 years later, this vision is under threat. Chinubai Vaidya, a leader at the Gandhi ashram, has witnessed the spread of Hindu fundamentalism.
I, as a Gandhian, feel that, and also as a citizen of this country, I feel that we have failed to see the things that were coming, you know. This wrong education was going on very silently at the grassroots level, very widely, and we didn't check it in time.
These days, the ashram is mostly a tourist attraction. Students avoid Gandhi's university if they want a degree for the job market, and it is mainly scholars who order his books. As a child, Harish Bhatt himself lived on one of Gandhi's ashrams, but even then he did not share the Mahatma's views.
Even when Gandhi was the leader, there was so much opposition to his views that the situation deteriorated. He was finally murdered. Even then, there were people not willing to accept his ideology.
Gandhi's main opposition came from the National Volunteer Association, or RSS, a Hindu nationalist movement inspired by German fascism and its war against Britain. The RSS did not share Gandhi's trust in the goodwill of India's Muslims and opposed his policy of nonviolence. In 1947, India gained independence from Britain. Gandhi reluctantly agreed to a British plan that carved out a piece of India to create the Muslim state of Pakistan. During partition, fighting broke out between Hindus and Muslims. It claimed the lives of more than 1 million Indians on both sides. Gandhi embarked on a hunger strike until the killing eventually stopped. But the RSS blamed Gandhi for the Hindu deaths and for the creation of a Muslim Pakistan.
There was a lot of hatred in the minds of Hindus. It is due to the laborious work that this RSS organization has put up. They wanted to create an anti-Muslim mind. Actually, their aim was good. They wanted to stand in defense of the Hindus. Up to that point, it was all right. But later on, it became their agenda. Anti-Muslimism became their agenda. Mahatma Gandhi came to the fore. And Mahatma Gandhi, he was creating a mind that was not anti-Muslim. And it was getting popular. Mahatma Gandhi was killed because of this.
On January 30th, 1948, Gandhi was assassinated by a former member of the RSS. Tainted by the assassination, the RSS slipped into obscurity, but it did not disappear. Today, a revived RSS is the controlling force in the Hindu alliance, and Gujarat is its stronghold. Harish Bhatt is a member of the RSS. In the small village of Kheda, 50 miles south of Ahmedabad, Bhatt initiates new recruits into the Monkey God Brigade. Each member gets a dagger called a trishul, which Bhatt has designed to be 1 inch shorter than India's weapons laws forbid. These recruits pledge themselves to the Hindu Alliance and its most important campaign. 10 years ago, the RSS and the Hindu Alliance launched a national campaign to build Hindu temples on 3 holy sites in northern India. But on each site, a Muslim mosque has stood for over 300 years. The RSS claimed that in the 16th century, Muslim invaders had built the mosques on holy Hindu ground, and that the mosques must now be destroyed. Their first target was the Babri Mosque in Ayodhya, where they say the Hindu god Ram was born. This is where India's last major outbreak of violence began.
Constructing Ram temple is only a goal. But along with that, our goal is to gather the Hindu fundamentalists or Hindu religious people, total together with all Hindus, for fight for their own religion, for their own rights.
In December of 1992, Urmila Trivedi traveled with thousands of other Hindu nationalists to Ayodhya, a 2-day train ride east from Ahmedabad. Urmila's mother was a Gandhian, but she is a member of the World Hindu Council, another organization in the Hindu Alliance. Urmila's job is to initiate its women recruits.
There was a special purpose for going to Ayodhya, to the Ram temple, to the land where the temple is to be built. We were going to attend the ceremony to bless the land. In Indian culture, you bless the ground before you build a house or temple.
They came from all over India to level the Babri Mosque.
There were over 10,000 women. The ceremony was supposed to start at 11:05. Before that, the volunteers ran and climbed the Babri structure and started breaking it. When the structure fell, we were happy. We hoped that we could start building the temple.
10 years later, in February of 2002, Urmila and other Hindu activists decided it was time to finish the job and build a temple to Ram to replace the mosque they had demolished. In the 10 years since, stones had been carved and prepared for the building of the temple. But the police barricaded the site and prevented the construction. Urmila and the others had no choice but to head home to Ahmedabad. On February 27th, Urmila's train arrived at Godra, a town 100 miles from Ahmedabad. The station at Godra is in the middle of a Muslim district, where riots have broken out in the past. At 7:48 a.m., the train pulled out. Hundreds of Muslims began to pelt the train with rocks. It came to a stop.
It started at Godra station. The train came and stopped here, on the 4th track. There were many people, 1,000, maybe 1,500. We could see everything through this tiny gap in the shutter. We could hear their voices. They were saying, beat up everyone, burn everyone, kidnap their girls. That's what we heard.
The Muslim mob attacked the train. Gasoline was poured into one of the cars, Burning rags were thrown in and the car exploded into flames.
Then about 10 or 12 people got out of their compartment and started screaming and shouting, "The people with us are burning! The people with us are burning! Please rescue them! Please get them out of there!" 2 of them were girls, and 5 of their companions were still inside the train. Those girls were crying, screaming, "Rescue them! Get them out of there!"
58 people died on the train. 40 of them were women and children.
When we went inside, 45 to 50 bodies were lying in front of me. It was only after removing the bodies that we realized a disaster had occurred.
When J.D. Patel heard about the attack, he rushed to the station.
We picked up the dead bodies and put them in trucks, and then gave them to their relatives here. The scene was so horrifying. All those corpses. To touch the dead bodies, many people fainted. One policeman collapsed right in front of me. Not just in India, but wherever there are Muslims, the people who live near Muslims can't live in peace. Look at what happened in America. An incident like this happened on September 11th. Now in villages along the border of China and Pakistan, incidents like this happen every day. Look at what's happening in Israel. Look at what's happening in Russia. Wherever there is Islam, Islam has taught jihad and to kill non-Muslims through jihad. There can't be any peace. They aren't trying to make peace. They're eager to kill non-Muslims. So, how can you have peace?
40 women and children went to Godhra for the first time. They didn't consider Muslims to be their enemies. Mothers and children were in these compartments. The dead babies couldn't be separated from their mothers' breasts, where they had been nursing when they died. What kind of parents would you have to be? What kind of Hindus would you have to be to witness these horrific murders and stay silent?
Within hours of the attack on the train at Godhra, the World Hindu Council, the Monkey God Brigade, and other Hindu alliance organizations called for a statewide general strike. The BJP state government endorsed the strike. Hindu militants all over Gujarat began gathering outside Muslim homes and shops. The Jafris lived in the middle of Ahmedabad in a small enclave conceived and built by Ehsan Jafri. He had named it the Gulbarg Society. Gulbarg in Urdu means flower garden. It was a place where Muslims and some Hindus lived together peacefully.
He used to like it there. After all, he'd lived there since childhood, and he trusted everyone.
On the morning of February 28th, 24 hours after the Godhra killings, thousands of Hindus gathered at the gates of the Gulbarg Society. A second mob massed at the back wall. They were armed with their trishul, swords, and homemade bombs.
What I remember the most is that they started burning the shops outside the compound while we were working in the house. Then they started breaking down the doors and the back wall of our compound.
Some of the Gulbarg Society's Muslim residents fled to the Jafri home. They thought the police would defend his house, as he was a former member of parliament.
I was watching all this from where I was sitting on the upper floor. I could see them burning all the houses, one by one, and throwing things outside. I could see the looting, and the smoke rising from the houses. The police never came.
When did you see Father for the last time?
The last time I saw him was at 10 in the morning, when he told me to go upstairs. Those were my last moments with him.
Downstairs, Mr. Jaffrey called the influential people he knew. Local police and government officials, even the police commissioner. At 10:30 a.m., the police commissioner himself came to the Gulbarg Society. He told Ehsan Jaffrey it would be all right. It would all work out. Then he left. 4 hours later, the Hindu mob broke down the back wall of the compound and poured in. Police officers stationed nearby called for reinforcements, but none were sent. Syra Cindy lived 2 doors down from the Jaffreys.
My brother-in-law and his wife died. What can I do?
Ehsan Jaffrey was mentoring Syra's son through law school.
They exploded a gas cylinder here.
Syra, her son, husband, and brother-in-law were in their house when the mob attacked.
They exploded another one in the kitchen. We locked the door and went out. As soon as the wall broke, the mob rushed in. All my family pleaded. We fold our hands and we fall at your feet. Please go away. There was no place to go. The boys climbed up on me. They swore and I was scared because I saw the mood outside. Then I said, your mom must be my age. You might have a sister my age or a daughter my age. Why are you doing this?
Syra managed to fight her way to Ehsan Jaffrey's house, surrounded by the rioters.
They were throwing stones. They threw so many stones there was no place to stand. They were stoning us constantly. We pushed through the crowd, fighting our way. My brother-in-law was there. Then he went upstairs. That's when the gas cylinder exploded at their house.
When Syra arrived at the Jaffrey house, there were about 150 people crowded into the ground floor. Ehsan Jaffrey barricaded the house and tried to keep the front door closed. At 3:30 p.m., the door broke. Ehsan Jaffrey and others were dragged out of his house.
People told us later that he was pleading with the rioters. Don't take away the honor of these young girls. Don't beat these young ones. I beg you. If you want to kill, then kill me. But please, leave these young ones. They were misbehaving with the young girls in front of him. He was not the kind of person who would beg people. But at that time, after seeing the scene, he said, take me, but please, let these children go.
Jaffrey's fingers were cut off. Then he was doused in kerosene and burnt alive.
He shoot fire on public, and you think that this public should simply stand there?
He attacked first. Nobody had gone to the compound to attack his house. People were just gathered there. When he fired, because of fear or whatever, there was a reaction.
It was not action, it was reaction. Just like America has reacted on Afghanistan. The same way this every incident happens after Godhra. That is all reaction, not action.
At least 40 people died with Mr. Jaffrey at the Gulbarg Society. At 6:30 p.m., police reinforcements finally arrived and walked Mrs. Jaffrey to safety. She says he never fired at the crowd. From February through April, The pogrom spread all over Gujarat. Eyewitnesses told of young women raped in broad daylight and then burnt, and parents speared in front of their children. Across the state, Muslim homes, shops, and mosques were destroyed.
There is an allegation that these Hinduites had a comprehensive list of all the houses where Muslims resided, of all the shops which belonged to the Muslims, all the restaurants, all the industrial bases, all the commercial organizations. They had a comprehensive list, and on the basis of that list, within 3 days, they cleansed all these things.
In the past, Gujarat's police arrested Hindu and Muslim militants at the first sign of violence. But the day the killing started in Ahmedabad, there were no arrests. When some police intervened, they were themselves attacked. Some Muslims who called the police were told, "We have no orders to help you."
There's no excuse. I mean, when you're going to protect some place, you protect it properly. We cannot accept scapegoating, that this community is now a scapegoat for what was done in Godhra. And you cannot accept the principle of vicarious punishment, that you are punishing these people because somebody belonging to the same community did this. So this, if you start accepting, there's no end to it.
The attacks created over 100,000 Muslim refugees. They are living in camps all over Gujarat, their homes destroyed. Saira now lives in a camp in the middle of Ahmedabad. She survived the attack at the Gulbarg Society by pretending to be the Jaffri's Hindu maid. She had to leave her dying son behind.
In a month, he would have begun the fast for Ramadan.
The Muslim refugees are still not secure, and they are cut off from their homes and businesses. Monday, July 8th. The Rath Yatra procession is 4 days away. 35 elephants are brought into the city for the ceremonies. In the past, elephants have been used to charge into police and the crowds. Religious leaders and holy men begin to arrive, and so do thousands of marchers. 2 months ago, when Gil arrived, the police chief who failed to help the Jaffri family was transferred. Gil arranged for Commissioner K.R. Kaushik to replace him. Kaushik is a devout Hindu with a long history of dealing fairly with communal violence in Gujarat. Gil and Kaushik banned public gatherings, ending the ongoing violence.
If Friday passes peacefully, then the chances of anything major happening is over. And if that is over, I don't see why I should be staying here.
Gil needs to get control of the situation fast. As an outside advisor, he works for Chief Minister Modi, but he ignores the chain of command. When Muslims from a village report an attack, Gil phones the village police superintendent directly. His reputation is enough to ensure an immediate result.
Yes, yes, thank you. God willing, we'll be in touch. We'll cooperate with you because you're helping us. We're going to be at peace while you're here. I don't know after that. We suggest you don't leave. Make it your home here.
Harish Bhatt is heading out of town looking for new recruits from the villages to join in Friday's procession. It's not difficult to find them. Many of Gujarat's villages are run by the RSS and other organizations in the Hindu Alliance.
Using RSS as a medium, we try to unite all parts of society. The group ideology is one of patriotism, but there's room for individual expression. Where there are farmers, they've created an organization for them, Kisan Sangh. Where there was a need for a political party, they've created the BJP. Where there's a religious need, they work with religious leaders and solve these problems.
Organizations in the Hindu Alliance raise money to construct new villages that bring healthcare, education, and social services to millions of people in Gujarat.
We've made such a village and named it Krishna Town. There we've made a temple and a school. Everywhere, a temple and a school. These are the criteria of the World Hindu Council. Education.
And meditation
meaning health, and spiritual knowledge.
In the village schools, the Hindu organizations provide extracurricular lessons in Hindu pride and patriotism. In some, students learn about the campaign to build the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. There are also bodybuilding gyms and yoga classes. Harish Bhatt's recruits train in an Indian martial art, a form of hand-to-hand combat using sticks, swords, and trishuls.
Can a weak, skinny person fight? No one accepts him anywhere. So these gyms are for that. The Monkey Brigade is for young people. Just like the moving of the sword. That's what they'll learn here. The gyms are for that. We run the gyms for that. If the gyms are strong, if the Hindu youth is strong, the nation will be strong. Society will be strong.
हिंदू समाज का युवा मजबूत होगा तो राष्ट्र मजबूत होगा, समाज मजबूत होगा.
Friday, July 12th, 6:30 a.m. It is the day of the procession. The crowds gather outside the Jagannath Temple, where the procession will begin. Last night, Kaushik's police arrested a Hindu priest and seized weapons he was hiding. Harish Bhatt spent part of the night trying to get him out of prison. The police have been on the street since dawn as a warning to the militants. Kaushik conducts his final inspection. He and Gill have shortened the parade route by 2/3. They have brought in 87 companies of armed paramilitary units, almost 15,000 police officers in all. They received intelligence that Muslim militants are planning to attack the Hindu marchers. Gill and Kaushik fear that there are others planning attacks, both Muslim and Hindu. Many Muslims on the procession's route evacuate their homes, but others have nowhere else to go. They hoard water and food in case new riots break out and they have to lie low. Mrs. Jaffrey fears her family is still a target. They are staying in a safe house.
Whenever processions occur, this can happen. Look at how many people were arrested. Guns were confiscated. If someone even throws a stone at the Rath Yatra parade, the police will be all over them. But when so many people died in Ahmedabad and so much happened, the police didn't show up until 6:30 in the evening.
At 10:30, the festivities are in full swing. Several 100,000 people march in the procession. The elephants lead the way. The marchers welcome Chief Minister Modi. He climbs on the lead float to be acclaimed by the crowd. He has survived the accusations against him. To Hindu hardliners, he is even a hero. Gill has arranged for loudspeakers to blare patriotic Indian songs in the Muslim areas. The Hindus can scarcely object, and they drown out any anti-Muslim taunting. Whenever the crowd surges toward Muslim homes, the police quickly push them back. Around midday, Kaushik gets a call. His police have located the 3 armed Muslim extremists who had planned to attack the march. They are arrested. Hindu alliance leaders have complained to Harish Bhatt that they are restricted because there are too many police around.
Why they should operate? Why government should operate? Why this much police and other forces to be deployed there? This is a public function, public celebration. Why anybody should interfere in that?
The procession is over. Gill's work has paid off. No one has been hurt during the 125th annual Jagannath Rath Yatra. But in the small village of Kheda, where Harish Bhatt earlier held his recruitment rally, violence erupted as Muslims and Hindus armed with bottles and homemade bombs fought in the streets. Over recent months, the violence in Gujarat has led to the destruction of 360 mosques and 20,000 Muslim homes. Businesses lost over $1 billion. Today, while most of the refugees have left the camps, many have been afraid to return to their neighborhoods. Narendra Modi now takes credit for the peaceful festival, and he plans to run again for chief minister. KPS Gill returns to Delhi and his job at the Hockey Federation. He says that the state of Gujarat is now safe and that trust between the Muslims and the police has been restored. India's national BJP government has pegged the death toll at 850 people. Human rights groups put the number at more than 2,000. Gujarat's police have arrested 62 Muslims for the attack at Godhra station. The state government claims to have arrested several thousand Hindus, including 40 or so for the Gulbarg Society killings, but many were immediately released without charge. Mrs. Jaffrey is still living in Gujarat with her son, a daughter, and her grandchildren.
Normally, I don't think about going back, but sometimes I think the upper floor of the house is still intact and I should stay there. My kids will repair the house, and when I start living there, maybe others will also return.
Urmila Trivedi still works for the World Hindu Council.
What happened in the aftermath of Godhra was necessary so that those people would understand that what they did in Godhra should not have happened. At that time, they burned 58 people alive. If we had not reacted, they would have attacked us again and again. They would stop the religious processions. They would burn Hindus. That's why it was necessary to teach them a lesson.
The RSS and the Hindu Alliance now have 20,000 private schools with 2.5 million students across India. Each year, they add 1,000 new schools.
It's not a religious thing, it is fascism. That's what we call. I think it's fascism is out and out, and we have to fight it out.
We ask all Muslim community also, if they are brotherhoodly, they are staying in this country, if they want to stay peacefully, they should hand over these 3 temples and no more any quarrel, no more any riots, no more any jagda. Only 3 only required. But 3 are not given, we'll try for 3,000. That is also our motto.
In most of India, Hindus and Muslims still live together peacefully, and the violence of Gujarat did not spread to India's other states. The Hindu Alliance hopes to complete the Ram Temple in Ayodhya soon, and then to build a new temple here in Varanasi, India's holiest city, where another mosque stands. Wide Angle continues with Jamie Rubin.
Senator Mitchell, thank you for joining us here on Wide Angle.
Harish Bhatt is a Hindu from Ahmedabad.
How do you get your gun out quickly enough?
I'll show you somewhere. How fast I can remove, how fast I can even fire also. I require minute. I'll take round also. It will be come out. It is in my hand, and it will be fired.
Why
because the rainy season is there.
Harish Bhatt retired from the Air Force 6 years ago. Now he is a successful businessman and vice president of India's largest Hindu youth movement, the Bajrang Dal, or Monkey God Brigade. The brigade has been accused of murdering Muslims. Today, he is preparing for next week's parade. He is determined that it will be a show of Hindu strength.
Today's event has been organized to awaken the people of this village and to create unity within our society. Every Hindu must unite to obtain his rights and to fight the injustice being done to Hindu society at a national level. That's the main goal of this event.
Tonight, we report from India, a country of more than 1 billion people with a democratic constitution that promises equal rights for all religions. Earlier this year, in Gujarat state, a Muslim mob set fire to a train carrying Hindu fundamentalists, killing 59 people. In a wave of revenge attacks, Hindu militants killed more than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, and left 100,000 more homeless. And there have been reliable accounts of police and state complicity in this terrible violence. Wide-angle producer Stephen Silver reports on the worst religious violence in more than a decade and what it means for India.
Bhatt and his youth movement are part of a much larger Hindu alliance. The alliance is made up of over 50 organizations, including India's national ruling party. the Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. The BJP also controls the government of Gujarat state. Its chief minister is Narendra Modi. He is a pracharak, someone who has renounced sex and marriage to work for the Hindu movement. Human rights groups allege that when militant Hindus began killing Muslims 6 months ago, Modi's government failed to take action to stop the violence. Modi and Bhatt both aim to turn India's secular democracy into a religious Hindu state. The slogan of their Hindu alliance is one nation, one culture, one religion, one language.
Is there a future here for Muslims in Gujarat?
See, if they want to peacefully, if they stay here as a peacefully, they stay as a younger brother, naturally they can stay in future also. Otherwise, that is very difficult for them, because after all, they are in minority.
Gujarat state, northwest India. In the first few months of 2002, violence between Muslims and Hindus has left over 1,000 people dead, the majority of them Muslims. Now it is July. In Ahmedabad, Gujarat's largest city, Hindus are about to celebrate the Jagannath Rath Yatra, a religious parade. About 250,000 Hindus will march through the city and its Muslim neighborhoods. In past years, the procession has ended with arson, looting, and bloodshed. This year, there are fears it could be worse. India, 1 billion people, 19 official languages, the world's largest democracy, where Hindus and Muslims live side by side. But in February, religious tensions exploded into violence.
We got out 58 dead bodies. It was such a deadly sight that many helpers and police fainted. It was indeed a horrific sight.
Is Gandhi's legacy of tolerance now at risk? Coming up on Wide Angle. Major funding for this program has been provided by the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, the Jacob Burns Foundation, and the Florence and John Schumann Foundation. Additional funding has been provided by the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and the Miriam G. and Ira D. Wallach Foundation. This program has also been made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Gracias.